Hey guys, how you doing? So, of course, today I'm actually here because something interesting is actually happening. I know you guys don't normally see me here, but I've been getting a lot of questions about what's really going on. So I decided to just quickly just do a quick live to talk about this. So for those who are actually wondering what's going on, I'm actually looking at the monitors because I'm actually doing something as we're speaking. So yeah, pretty much what's going on is that Facebook is down, and of course, with Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Oculus, you have WhatsApp, and that's actually causing a problem right now for a lot of folks, right? So, sorry. So if you're in business or you're just doing social stuff, personal things, usually you'd have your WhatsApp messenger quickly messaging, doing whatever. But you may also realize that if you're trying to do something on WhatsApp, you just keep on saying, updating or connecting. And if you're trying to do something on Facebook, you just get a page notification that it's down, right? Same thing if you're doing Instagram, it won't load. So I don't know if you can see, but for example, my WhatsApp is going to show you that at the top it says connecting, right? Doesn't matter what you're doing. So at first when I saw it, I thought, hey, maybe just my data. But then I quickly started looking at all the application and realized that my data was fine, things were working fine, but this was the issue. So I quickly jumped online and looked at, and if you're not in technology, I guess you wouldn't necessarily do this, but I've been in technology for about 15 years and counting. And my background is one that revolves around network security and redundancy, and really putting in networks and scaling them up so that you can have geographical coverage and you can share resources over countries or continents, right? So VPN, the works, um, e-commerce, the works. So for me, the first thing I did was just check something like downdetector.com, right? And that will pretty much tell you or give you an idea as to what services are down. So it's currently showing that somewhere about maybe after 9 after 10, depending on where you are globally. Um, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all those services are down. And worse if you're an advertiser, because again, Facebook is used for a lot of business too. So if you're an advertiser, for example, you have your ads running and your ads, of course, are what's going to bring customers in. You'll be thinking about it because there's no activity going there. If you're doing Facebook or social media, WhatsApp promotion, sending out your messages, again, you'll be in a pinch there because you're not reaching anybody, you're not being able to connect to anybody, and no one is able to connect to you. Another thing is if you have a business that relies strictly on WhatsApp communication or Facebook Messenger communication, then you're in a pinch now. So if you didn't have, for example, like live chat enabled on your website and stuff like that, if you weren't paying attention to emails, then you're pretty much in a crunch. Your customers will be wondering what's going on if they've not yet heard the news. And if they're not using like Twitter, etc., then that's also going to be a challenge. So a lot of people are actually, trying to figure out what's going on. And again, because I'm in the technology field, it's interesting for me because usually when you have these kind of setups, it's okay for you to have an outage every now and then in certain areas, and even though not acceptable. But even when I'm putting a network and we're doing projects of certain scales, we usually have geographical redundancies and fail safes in the networking, meaning imagine you're setting up something in Jamaica, and this is stuff I've done before here where we will have something done in one part of the island and we'll have multiple internet connections in, multiple switches to connect the networks, multiple servers to ensure the applications can scale automatically and move between the servers. firewalls to ensure that in case you have a compromise in one area, there's redundant security in place. So you cannot imagine what a Facebook would do and what a Instagram, etc., would do. And for those who may think, oh, maybe because it's the same servers, no, they don't. For those size applications, for those applications connecting billions of users, right? Not just hundreds of thousands or thousands, we're talking about billions of users. There are certain rules of redundancies in place. So for this to happen um, to such a huge company with the resources, we're not talking about guys who are skimping here on technology and resources, right? Something serious has happened, right? There's a lot of allegations and conspiracies about what's going on. There's talks about, of course, the Francis Hagen story that broke about different things that people have been wondering and considering what was really going on between the social networks, and what's really been happening in terms of the right to do certain things and who has certain access, etc. And that's caused a hell of a storm, right? So there's a number of things, right? There's so many agendas and considerations that are creeping up. But the question is, this should be an interesting release of facts, information about the true reason behind such a massive outage. And it's not just region wide. I mean, people in England, US, name it, wherever it is the service is offered, there's no service, right? Stocks have actually plummeted where this is concerned. In fact, I was looking at Yahoo Finance and there's a number of tech stocks that have actually dipped because of this, right? And a number of services are affected because of this. Again, for those who don't know, if you've gone to your favorite website, you may have a challenge signing in using like your Facebook, credentials, etc. So it's not just to share information, but it also uses authentication to log into other services that you may deem critical. So there's a lot of backlashes and effects, secondary effects that are happening as well as it relates to this. And a lot of applications who are connected using the APIs, meaning the program that they're using have a certain hook back to these Facebook or Instagram application to pull data or to send data as a part of the setup to get you the best user experience. So this should be interesting, right? We're down for a record amount of hours. Some years ago, Facebook, I think a couple years ago, Facebook had an outage, or so I don't know. Let's look and see what's happening here. But it should be interesting. And for me, again, being in the technology field, especially being someone that majored in network security, network design, and redundancies and scalabilities, you know, when you understand the kind of design that's put in place for standard enterprise type applications, then you'll understand that this, whatever happened, however it happened, whoever caused it to happen, you know, this is some serious stuff. This heads usually roll for less than this. So this should be interesting to see what really was the cause and how this really turns out. So I'm still looking at my screen here, looking at you know downdetector.com. It's telling us it's after 2 here now where I'm at. Um, and again, a large group of persons, millions of persons are actually feeling the effect and reporting it. Um, that they're having issues, and almost all countries all over the world are actually reporting the same thing. So this is a huge, huge impact. So I'm tuning in, I'm looking in, I'm seeing what's going on, but at the same time, this is not a time for you guys to understand. If you have your services, you have um, your e-commerce, etc. Again, it's good to have your own platform because a lot of people who right now if they're actually going on and they only have their social media stores on Instagram and Facebook, they've lost revenue for all this time. If you had your own website, again, a big push for you to be able to still carry on business, right? So pay attention to these things, guys. And again, it's always good to plan and have a bit of redundancy for your own path. Right? So let's see how this goes, and let's hope you weren't too badly affected. Or on the bright side, it's a good time for you to do a detox, right? Go talk to some people, right? In person, right? So stay safe and take it easy.